This committee used to be a committee that would talk about policy, and now I feel like all we do is talk about politics. There's enough politics in this town. I'm going to use my time to talk about some policy. In the city of San Antonio, just recently, ICE, the ICE facility there had a package delivered with white substance, right, as an intimidation factor to try to bully ICE to not do their job. I think it's absolutely sickening, and it's ultimately dangerous. My question to you, Mr. Hughes, what can we do to continue to support ICE agents, whether it's, in particularly ICE agents? Is there anything we can do as lawmakers to show that we support the rule of law?
Thank you, Congressman. Look, the polarization you referred to is just unprecedented, and we're in really a hard time right now where we really need to bring it back and really look for answers together. That said, there are many recommendations that we made, FLIOA made, in looking at enhancing 18 U.S.C. 111 or 18 U.S.C. 912, other bipartisan bills like Protect and Serve Act, Back to Blue, and Blue Shield Privacy Act. We need to be looking together a bipartisan way to come up with protections for ICE and others so that they can do their jobs in an effective way in protecting us and defending the rule of law.
Wonderful, thank you for that. And I agree with you. We need to tone down the rhetoric and we need to bring more solutions to help things. If you have policy discussions, let's have those policy discussions, but let's not blame the men and women that are executing the policy that we're making here in Congress. My next question is for Mr. Thompson. Sheriffs, I love my sheriffs. They run things in my district, right? Sheriffs like Ronnie Dotson and Thad Cleveland out in West Texas, Randy Brown, tallest sheriff you ever meet in your life, just doing amazing stuff. I've done a lot of ride-alongs with these sheriffs. I mean, they're on the front lines. I view them as frontline leaders. My question for you is on these task forces. I'm a big fan of task forces. I think the anti-gang and anti-terrorism task force often led by DHS or FBI, I think those work. I've spent a lot of money, or spent a lot of time and energy making sure that those work. In your opinion, what is your thoughts on these anti-gang terrorism or task forces and the role that sheriffs should be playing?
Well, thank you for the question, sir. I appreciate it. Two thoughts. One, task forces have been around for decades. They go back to organized crime days of the 30s and even further back in many ways. They are around because they do work. It brings together a team approach, a holistic approach to responding to either perceived crime, actual crime, or the recovery from crime. So they do work, and they have the. I want to make one point. Crime in this country has changed. It's much more sophisticated than it's ever been. The cartels have more money, more time, more interest in doing what they do. That's why, in my estimation, I think the president did do the right thing by designating the cartels as terrorist groups. The point I'm making, though, is that for this committee especially, I think we all need to recognize that with the sophistication and the breadth and absolute indoctrination into our country of these cartels, we have to do things differently. We have to do them vastly different. We need a greater sense of urgency on cybersecurity. You saw that in my testimony. We need to invest in that, especially in these smaller agencies. Number two, I think we have to recognize that with these task forces are going to come some pains, some growing pains, and some changes. So we all have to recognize, and I'm hearing that from all of my sheriffs, is that we need to be helpful, whether it's a small agency in the rural part of the country or a large agency. We're going to have to be a little bit more flexible as we look at things.
Wonderful, thank you, and I couldn't agree more. When local, state, and federal agencies are coming together, that's exactly how we tackle this problem. In my last 30 seconds, this is for Mr. Yoes. You mentioned in your testimony, as of the end of November, 314 officers have been killed in the line of duty. I'm from San Antonio. I represent a very large district that goes all the way to El Paso, but I was shocked that my police officers in San Antonio do not have bulletproof vehicles. Zero. There are zero bulletproof vehicles. And when I tried to help them get bulletproof vehicles. It was liberal mayors and liberal city councils that prevented that from happening. My question is this. I have a bill that helps local law enforcement officers get bulletproof glass vehicles. Do you think that would help keep our police officers safe?
Absolutely, not just ballistic glass, but there's also ballistic panels that could be put in a vehicle as well. And I'll just contrast it to, cities have a number of employees. They do a number of different functions, and we don't hesitate to provide safety benefits, safety material for other employees to make their job safe. Law enforcement officers have inherently a very unsafe job, because let's just be honest. There are people in society that many would like to think don't exist, and we deal with them. And so giving us the tools necessary to do our job and go home to end our families, that's 2,553 families that have been shot. And let me tell you, the numbers are staggering, how many were killed. But what's even more staggering is this is lives that have been changed. Medicine, ballistic equipment, trauma response, these things have brought these numbers down. So gladly and luckily, we've been able to save a lot of lives, but that doesn't mean they're not trying to kill us.